Hey everybody, what's up? It's Ellen. I just had to stop doing what I was doing, which was driving deliveries, and turn off that app so that I could make this video, because I just finished listening to another lady talk about 13 and 17 and the connection with resurrection and the cicadas and so many things. Well, just less than 12 hours ago, last night before I went to bed, before she put this video out, I was sitting outside and heard the first sounds of the cicadas, and I made a little video of it, and I was like, wow, you know, this is, first of all, just reminding me of childhood. I mean, that was always the signal that summertime is coming, you know, the sound of the cicadas at night. And it's always my favorite time of year, so it was like a nice little happy surprise that it was the first time to hear them. And I remembered the news stories about this year in particular being a year where a 13-year cycle of cicadas and a 17-year cycle of cicadas are coinciding. So there's going to be billions of cicadas, okay? So a ton. Which some people are linking to like the end of the world and the locusts and all that. So forget all that. That's negative fear mongering. Because what I'm about to tell you is that possibly a vision board that I made in the summer of 2020 that I put the numbers 13 and 17 on, cut out of a magazine. If that was a prophecy or a precognition of what's to come, then it is definitely not the end of the world. It is the beginning of a brand new, beautiful, amazing world. I can't wait to be home so that I can make a video to show that vision board and show all the amazing things that I envisioned, not only for my personal life, but of course for just the world in general. Okay, so let's go back. So the reason I put the 13 and 17 on the board was because I connect with the number 13 card in the tarot, the death card, very scorpionic, Pluto, death and rebirth, transformation, which is something that I've done my whole life. I have an 8th house Venus. So I have a, you know, scorpionic nature. It's in my nature to die to my old self and be reborn over and over and over and over and over again. So I put the 13 on there for that. The 17 was for two reasons. The star card, which is healing, bridging heaven and earth. I very much connect to that energy of Aquarius. And also 1/7 is my daughter's birthday. So it has a double meaning for me. Okay, so this lady I just listened to connected so many dots because 13 and 17, death card and star card, is also symbolizing Pluto moving into Aquarius, which just happened this January. So it's like the vision board was foreshadowing what would begin 4 years later, which is now, when Pluto moved into Aquarius. Not saying it's going to like happen overnight. It's a 20-year transit. It's going to be in Aquarius till 2044. But if this is what we're moving into, which I believe we are, because I am so pumped up and excited, and I feel joy returning and excitement and awe and wonder and all those really great things that can feel lost to trauma and to extended periods of time in the underworld and the subconscious, working through the shadow and all of that stuff. You know, you can really feel like you lose a part of yourself, you know, lose that essence of who you were before the journey started. And she mentioned that there's a whole collective of us, a whole soul group of us who have been in either this 13-year cycle or 17-year cycle. She even added 21 for her own reasons, but I'm really connecting to the 13 and the 17. So you can look back 13 years ago, that would be 2011, and 17 years ago, 2007, and see what was going on then, what journey started then that now is culminating, where you've maybe felt like you had something stolen from you, like from your core, or you felt like you lost a part of yourself that you've been trying to regain, but you can't find it. It's like this part of yourself that went into hiding to stay safe, right? Because your outer circumstances didn't feel safe because of the level of trauma and the trauma responses you were having, the decisions you were making based on unhealed trauma, that sort of thing, right? So I hope you're following along. For me, 17 years ago would have been the first year that my children's father and I were together. So we were in that newness of relationship, right? A lot of hopes and dreams, and it was prior to getting married. It was prior to having our children, obviously prior to divorcing and all the things that have happened since then. But it was that excitement of newness and just feeling like the whole world was, you know, at your fingertips and all possibilities were possible. You know, that really amazing feeling. So that cycle and all that it entailed and all of the loss and all of the changes and all of the hopes and dreams that seemed to crumble, you know, that's culminating so that the wisdom, all of the gifts and the, you know, things learned and the karma cleared and the ancestral stuff that's been recognized and unearthed and you know, just released, all of that is like culminating right now. The 13-year cycle is when I transitioned from maidenhood to motherhood. So the rite of passage of a woman going from her maiden phase to her mother phase. And for me, that was very difficult. I was 31 years old. I was an older mother. I had been making my own decisions for myself, for my body, for a long time. And then all of a sudden I have this other human being who I am responsible for, and for 2 years responsible for nourishing. He was a long breastfeeding baby. So that was like sacrificing not only my time and energy and all of that, but like literally he was, you know, attached to my breast for a lot of time. So my freedom, okay, that's what it is. My freedom of movement, my freedom of choice felt very limited or changed because of my transition to motherhood. And that was a part of me that I never since then have felt like I could fully regain, because then his little sister came along and I had 2 in diapers and, you know, all of this stuff. And it was just a long, drawn out, very paradoxical feeling of ultimate joy of watching my children grow and becoming, you know, little people with personalities and skills and gifts, and also grieving that part of myself, like really grieving that phase of my life when I didn't have children, which is often hard to talk about, right? Because we're really grateful for our kids, obviously, or most of us are, but there's also a grieving process that happens with motherhood. And at least for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me it really hit hard. So that cycle now is ending so that this new phase can start. And there's just so much. There's so much. So that's the main part that I wanted to make sure I got on video. And like I said, when I get home later, I really want to share the vision board because it's so hopeful. It gives such a vision of what is possible. And some of it, obviously, when I share, that'll be personal, but some of it is very collective. Like one phrase that keeps standing out that I cut out of a magazine and put on there was, a future where we don't have to worry about the future, right? I don't know about you guys, but for a long while now, worry about the future has consumed so much of my joy. You know, like worrying about stability and security, and will I be able to provide, and how am I going to work on healing myself when I'm responsible for so many living beings around me, right? My pets, my children, my plants. Like, it was like so many things to take care of and try to heal and try to clear all of these patterns and karmic ways of doing things, you know, and a future where we don't have to worry about the future, because there is enough for everybody. Everybody. There is enough, but the way the system is set up, it is hoarded by a few while the majority struggle. And I do envision and I do believe in a future where nobody has to worry about the future, because we are co-inhabiting this beautiful planet and there's no lack or struggle, which is the root cause of so many problems. Crime, you know, so many things that come from poverty, like lack of educational choices, lack of basic necessities. You can't elevate consciousness if Maslow's hierarchy of needs are not met. If you're in survival mode, if you are working from that reptilian brain because you're constantly activated in that part of the brain, which is all about survival, and your root chakra and just your base needs of food, clothing, shelter. If you're constantly trying to get those needs met, you can't be contemplating higher consciousness or, you know, peace among brothers and sisters in the world, and these higher concepts of unconditional love and these things. You can, but it's very, very difficult, right? So get excited. If you're resonating with this message, we are probably soul family, and it's so nice to meet you. Leave a comment if you have any connection to anything I've said, if any of it made sense, if you have more puzzle pieces to add, because like the lady I listened to, and I'll post that on the community tab as well, I was already getting these downloads, but then she added her pieces, which made more pieces of mine click in, and that's how we interconnect, and that's how this web of light, this grid of light, gets activated and spread across the planet, that overtakes the dense false matrix that wishes to keep us thinking that we are in lack and constant, you know, need to consume and to get more and to have more, and that it's never enough, and that, you know, just all of these dense emotions and states of being. So anyway, I love you guys. I'm sending you so much love. Mwah. Have a good day.